The door to the tiny hotel room clicked shut behind her. She had come because of a message, a short, polite note on a website where people post ads. The ad had sounded harmless. A nighttime job, a good payment, a simple meetup. She had gone because she needed the money, and because the message seemed normal. The man in the ad had used a friendly voice in his text. He had said he would be at the lobby, that he would pay in cash, that everything would be quick. She smiled when she left home, thinking it would be like other nights she had worked. She had no idea that this one night would change many lives. Inside the room, she set her bag down and answered the knock. The man who opened the door looked like a regular man. Neat hair, a plain jacket, a calm face. He spoke gently. She laughed at a small joke he made. He offered the money, and she took it. For a moment the room was ordinary and warm. Then something shifted. A small sound, a metal scrape, a hush where the man's voice had been. She turned her head, and for a breathless second their eyes held. The man moved differently, faster. He pulled at a small item from his pocket. She backed away. The lamp on the nightstand shook. He said one word she could not understand. She tried to get out the door, but it was locked. The phone on the table slipped from her hand and rolled under the bed. The noise from the hallway hummed through the thin walls. A trolley, a laugh, the distant beat of a vending machine. It all felt far away. What was happening in the room was close and frightening. She reached for her bag. Her heart pounded. Then the light went out for a split second, and everything changed. A loud thump, a short cry. The man outside the room in the hallway heard footsteps and slowed. A bell over the desk rang faintly. A child ran past the front door with her parent, holding a balloon. No one on the quiet floor seemed to notice the small sound from the room that would become the center of the news. This was the highest, most shocking part of the story, the exact moment when a simple online ad turned into a deadly trap. But before we tell what happened next, we must stop there for a breath. We have to ask the question every reader will have. How did this happen? How did a normal night lead to a night of terror? We go back now to understand why people use that website, how people meet there, and how small choices can change a life. The website was a place where people post short messages, an item to sell, a job, a favor, a room to rent. It is full of small, ordinary things. People like it because it is fast. You can write a note, and someone else can read it right away. It helped many people find work or sell a used couch. Most meetings that begin from those messages are fine. But when strangers meet in private places, there is always a small risk. Most people are careful and meet in public places. Some people use screens and careful words to stay safe. Others trust too quickly. In our story, the woman's name was Maya. She was 26 years old and lived in a small apartment close to the city. She had a quick smile and a steady walk. She had done this kind of work for months. She knew how to protect herself. She checked messages. She shared her plans with a friend, and she carried a small safety alarm in her pocket. She knew the usual rules. Meet near the front desk. Ask for a name. Do not go to lonely addresses alone. She had done these things many times and had felt safe. The man who posted the ad used the site in a different way. He made a short post that said little and offered a lot of money. The ad used correct spelling and sounded friendly. He did not give a full name. He said only a first name. He asked for a private meeting in a small hotel off a quiet street, a place where people come and go at odd hours. That was not against the rules of the website, but it did mean the meeting would be behind closed doors. People who study cases like this often say that criminals look for ways to appear normal. That evening, the man who sent the message tried to look ordinary, a calm tone, a friendly message, a promise of cash. He sent photos that were clear, he made no strange threats, and he used time-tested words that seemed polite. That tactic makes it easier for someone to lower their guard. At the same time, detectives and safety workers warn that online posts can hide who a person really is. A username can be anything. Photos can be old ones or taken from a different face. A promise can be broken. That is why many people who use these sites pick a safe place to meet, like a busy cafe or a lobby with many people. Maya had met in hotel rooms before, and sometimes she had been fine. But every meeting can be different. Before the meeting, Maya texted her friend Sarah, as she always did. "I'll be off around midnight," she wrote. "Hotel on Pine. If you don't get a later message from me, call." Sarah sent back a heart and told her to be careful. Those messages mattered later. They would be part of the story the police would read and remember. The man in the ad had his own life, too, a life that at first glance seemed normal. He rented a small apartment and worked during the day. He smiled at neighbors in the elevator. He paid bills on time. No one in his building would think he had dark secrets. That is another part why these stories shock people. The person who chooses to hurt can sometimes hide behind a pleasant face. As Maya left her apartment, that night, she felt the chill of the late autumn air. She wrapped her scarf. She locked the door and walked to the bus stop. The city had bright lights and neon signs. A man bought cigarettes nearby. A couple argued softly as they walked past. Life had its noise, and for a moment Maya felt that noise in her bones. She told herself she was careful. She told herself she would be fine. When she checked into the hotel, the clerk waved her in with a bored smile. The man in the ad arrived a few minutes later. He had a quiet voice. He said his name was Mark. He asked if everything was all right. Maya nodded. She asked him his last name, and he gave a simple answer. He paid cash and did not give extra details. She felt a small sense of relief. He seemed ordinary, but details can be tricks. He had arranged a meeting when few staff would be around. He had chosen a room that had blind spots where sights and sounds were not easily noticed. He had prepared for the meeting in a way Maya did not see. Back at the apartment, Sarah watched the clock. She had seen Maya post a message online that she was going out. She expected a text later. Midnight came, then 1 o'clock. She called Maya's phone and got a voicemail. Maya's last short message had been a small joke to Sarah before she headed out. Sarah felt uneasy and tried calling again. There was no answer. At the hotel, what happened between Maya and the man was quick and terrible. There was a rush, a small struggle, the phone sliding away, a light flickering. The man moved faster than her. Maya screamed once, but the sound was swallowed by the thin walls. For a horrible minute, the room rotated with confusion and fear. Outside, a delivery truck backfired like a gunshot. A guest laughed loudly in the elevator. The world kept going. In the small room, the ordinary night turned into something else. When the light came back on, an empty hand reached under the bed. The phone was there but cracked. A small purse lay on the floor. The man closed his jacket, placed a few bills on a nightstand, and walked out as if nothing had happened. He passed the lobby desk with the same calm face. He took the elevator down and stepped into the cold air, disappearing into the city he had known. At first, the hotel staff knew only that something odd had happened. The clerk found the broken phone and called the number that had paid for the room. No answer. The room smelled faintly of perfume and fear. The maid knocked and then opened the door to clean. She found the bed rumpled, the lamp tipped, and Maya not moving. Her eyes were open, but she did not wake. There were signs of a struggle on the sheets and a few scattered papers, but no one could say exactly what had happened until the police came. That discovery, the maid finding Maya in the hotel room, is an extreme event that drives the rest of the story. It is a moment when a simple online ad is shown to be a deadly trap. It is the moment when a life was taken and the quiet world of cell phones and web posts suddenly felt like a place of danger. For everyone who would later read the police reports and watch the news, this would be the loud moment that made them understand the danger. Neighbors would say they had seen Maya in better days. Her friend Sarah would remember the last text message. Detectives would start to piece together the small messages and the fingerprints and the camera footage from down the street. We stop here. Chapter 1 ends at the point when the maid finds a room and calls for help. The next chapters will follow the police work, how officers use the hotel's records, how a small piece of evidence in the ad led them closer to the man who had posted it, and how the internet traces, and a single witness will become the thin threads that might catch him. When you are ready, I will continue Chapter 2.